This one's going to be giving you absolute nostalgia across several different movies and across several different genres. So, let me tell you what I thought about the end of Oak Street. Now, this is currently out of the movie theaters right now. And the way I do my reviews is we'll spend the first little bit talking about like spoiler free stuff, right? The basics of it. I will then count to three. I'll let you know we're in spoiler zone and we'll talk about more in depth of it. And then, of course, come back and let me know what you think about it. So, like I said, this was the end of Oak Street. That's the name of the movie. And I'm just going to read the little synopsis of it right here. So it says a mysterious cosmic event rips Oak Street from suburbia and transports the neighborhood to someplace unknown. The Platt family soon discovers that their very survival depends on sticking together as they navigate their now unrecognizable surroundings. It stars, and these are major, Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor. It's directed by David Robert Mitchell. Okay, so the film is set in the 80s, and honestly, it took me a minute to realize this. I don't know why, but seeing a couple of things, I was like, oh, wait, okay, this is like an 80s thing. It was very nostalgic, and they nailed that very good. So that whole vibe of it, I really enjoyed. It's very character driven, okay, which I can appreciate if a movie does it right. And I felt like this one did it right because I went into this not knowing really what to expect, right? If you've seen the trailers for it, some of the stuff it gives away in there where you're like, okay, we're dealing with this or that or whatever. So this is very character driven. You're seeing a family, a neighborhood, all this type of stuff with regular family things that happen, regular neighborhood stuff that happens, and this will play throughout the movie. Now, at times, too, I feel like it can take front and center where I'm a little bit like, really? Yes, but overall it was decent. Okay, so once the movie is in full roll, a lot of these very layered complications will play out and remain. And that's what I'm talking about with like the whole family dynamics and the character driven type stuff. That never lets up in this, which propels some things, but other times for me, it would snap me out of it because I was like, would we really be worried about this right now? Okay. Now, also, the film drops you off in this world as a viewer. Okay. And for the viewer, you have just as many questions because you're almost kind of like, how did we arrive here? What's going on? What's around that corner? What are the rules of this world? How does it work? And you're seeing these take place, or you're almost vibing them out with the characters, right? And how their experiences and finding these things. So that part for me was really interesting. I really appreciated that. Now, also, this plays into a whole level of like, right when you think, okay, so that's what we're dealing with. Here we go. Like, this is a new normal. It turns it upside down. So it keeps it interesting in that way. So, for me, one thing that is like a critique of it or whatever is it took it a minute to get into like okay, here we go with the page, right? Like, it was pretty, you know, it just took it a minute to get there, but overall it wasn't like, oh my god, this is dragging out, but it was almost like, okay, well, when's the thing going to start happening, right? And that was kind of my surprise of, I guess I'm used to films just being like, bam, here we go. Okay, so that being said, let's talk about spoiler free stuff for those who have seen it, or if those who are like, I'm never going to see this but I just want to hear you talk about it. So count of three: one, two, three. You're now in spoiler zone. I will ruin the movie for you, so if you don't want that happening, go and get out of here. Okay, so this is basically Back to Future with drafts. I'm with dinosaurs. Okay, can you imagine? That might be a new plot. The sequel, Back to Future, giraffes. It was giving Stranger Things. It was giving Back to the Future. It was giving Jurassic Park. It was giving Jumanji. It was giving all these things. Okay, so what you're doing is you're meeting this family. Again, the acting's amazing in this, right? I really appreciated the acting. I really appreciated the character development, and you're sitting here and all of a sudden this stuff happens in the movie, these events, and I'll be like gray zone about some stuff here, right? So something happens and you're just like, okay, and so all of a sudden you just realize that they're in this new world, and they slowly develop this, or slowly, let you realize this. And basically they're back in like some Jurassic world. Like, their whole block has been transported, right? So you're seeing dinosaurs and like all this kind of stuff. Well, what happens when people are involved with dinosaurs? Dinosaurs eat them, right? So all of a sudden you're in this new world with this family who, the son's having drama at school with, fighting with a guy, the sister's doing that, like all the stuff. The dad's having, financial problems with his job. all that's going on. Okay. Well, that never leaves, right? So, as you're discovering this world with dinosaurs and watching neighbors get killed and all this type stuff, you see arguments about like, why is the dad drinking? And I'm like, this is the probably a time I would drink. Why didn't you tell me we lost your job? Are we really doing this? It was almost to the point where sometimes it was like people would not stop because I was like, if this happened, the only thing I would be talking about is y'all, hello, we're like back in time or something. I would no longer be worried about anything else. This would just be my new normal, right? Okay, so that part was like a critique of it. The movie wasn't a slow roll, but because it took a minute to get into it and it was so character driven, it almost felt like a little bit of a struggle because I was like, okay, I'm wanting intensity, but it's not giving me intensity. And then at other times it's giving me intensity, but then it's muddled down a little bit with the character stuff. And so that kind of betrayed, or not betrayed, but that just kind of drug it out a little bit, if you will. Okay, the acting, like I said, is amazing. The set was amazing. The aesthetic was amazing. The dinosaurs, it's a unique look or take from what I've seen in movies of what they would look like. So I appreciated that. Definitely some jump scares. Definitely a lot of tension. I mean, you've got the whole thing of humans like going out there and doing their thing, and you trying to figure out how do we survive? How do we get out of this? I'm not going to say what it is, but there's a part in the movie where they turned it upside down with where you think it was going. And you're literally like, what? Uh, how what where do we go from here? I can't believe that just happened. And so that like really gave it this heartbeat when you weren't expecting it. Okay. And then also as it draws to an end, and again I'll be kind of gray zone here, because of this major complication that they throw out to you, you're left wondering how, like, what's going to happen. They offer a solution because during the movie, it's not like a this is life forever. They're giving you this thing of like, this maybe could be changed, but you have to find a way out. So you're along with that, and it's almost a supernatural vibe to it that's a little bit odd to me. But again, it is what it is, right? So it's made the movie unique to me at least. So they tidy it up. Is it a little too perfect? Yes. But did you want it to be that way because of the way they flipped it upside down? Yes. Right? Because I was like, well, how are you going to go from here? What's going to happen? And so, in one way, it was a unique ending, but one that we've kind of seen in other ways. It, again, felt like several movies coming together. Would I have done it differently? Probably not. Did I expect differently? I didn't know what to expect. Again, this movie was so odd in a way where it was just like, where, like, the whole time I'm just like, where are we? Like, what is this world we're in now? How do you get out? What are the rules to it? Like, and then, but yet we're worried about a job. Like, that part right there, okay? So it kind of like ends cute, right? Almost like a little Disney type ending or whatever, and everything's, whatever. Okay, so that being said, this is my vibe. Was it worth going to the movie theater over? Sure. It's definitely that kind of an energy. Was it big blockbuster summer vibes? No. Do I think they were trying to go for that? I mean, I assume every movie wants to, right? But it wasn't like Jurassic Park, okay? Like where it's like this magnificent, like, whoa, because it was almost like the supernatural dynamic was equaled out by the character driven part. You see what I'm saying? So it was more like you're not there just to see the dinosaurs, but that's kind of what I thought I was there for. So, whatever. Okay. So going to the movie theater and all that, this just felt like not even to the point of saying like, "Yep, we're going through the drive-through. We're getting a number 10 double size. They're going to ask us to pull up and wait, and they'll bring it out to us. This is run of the mill. This is how it always happens here." It felt a little bit above that. Almost Biggie sized it, okay? And then also the ice cream machine was working, right? Was it something cool to watch at home? Sure, right? Definitely entertaining, very entertaining. Glad I went to go see it. Was it mesmerizing? No. Was it like, oh my gosh, Academy Awards? No. It was entertaining, and I felt like it was money well spent. I wasn't blown away by it. I enjoyed it. It kept my attention. I appreciated it. I suggest. So here's the thing: if you're like, well, Paul, do I need to go out to the movie theater and see it, or can I wait? You can wait. If you love going to the theater, go on and see it, right? but it's nothing that's like you need to see this on the big screen. Like the Odyssey, I was like, you need to see that on the big screen. Okay. This one is more like you can wait, but if you are close to a theater, you like go in and then go. Okay. It was definitely entertaining. And again, I think the acting was great. I think the aesthetic, all that stuff. And so I think you enjoy that part. So if you saw it, I want to know like what your thought process on it was. I mean, was it more streamlined for you in the way of like, oh, well, this world makes sense, and here's this, and oh, I was expecting this, and what did you think of the ending, and what did you think when that event took place that kind of turned the movie upside down? Where you're like, what? They did that to who? That kind of thing. Let me know what your thoughts were because we were all kind of like, what? I can't believe that just happened. Anyways, thank you for being here. I love you. Check out my review to Odyssey also. That was another major good one that's probably still not in the theaters. And that's it. I'll see you in the next review.